till I dig inside. Fate always works, so I close my eyes. Trust in the process, so aim for the top, so I'm ready for the conquest. Bigger they are, the greater they fall in a contest. Small steps is better than no progress. Hey, envision my vision, they can't envision it. Knew I was special, I know deep down that I was different. Trust in the plans, yeah, I had to be more considerate. Trampling my enemies, the top is where I'm heading in. All my problems, yeah, I had to shake it off. When I put my mind to it, even just fall. Made it through the darkest valley, though I had to crawl. Now I'm heading to the top, yeah, I'm standing on. At the top of the world, I'm standing on. At the top of the world, yeah, I'm standing on. At the top of the world, yeah, I'm standing on. At the top of the world, that's what I'm standing on.
Shalom, everybody. I'm Brother Azrael.
I'm Brother Bawaah,
and welcome to another show of Yah's Chosen podcast that me and my brother started. And preferably you guys have been watching. If this is your first time, welcome. And today we want to talk about something a little special about a trip my brother took a while back to Africa, actually Ghana.
Right.
So, brother, tell me a little bit about, what was your purpose of going to Ghana in the first place?
Well, I went to Ghana. This is actually my third time going. I went to go visit my wife in Ghana, trying to get her here to the States.
Okay.
This time I stayed a good amount of time, up to 2 months, and I got to live within within the people in the township. So it was very interesting. Again, I look forward to going back.
Okay. So now, in the area that you stayed in, what was like the biggest city that was close to where your wife lives?
Well, we actually stayed in Ada, a little town called Ada, but it's right next to Kaforda. Kaforda is one of the, I guess you could say it's a major city in Ghana, but it's not as big as the capital, Accra or Kumasi.
Okay. And as far as, like the season, what time of year was it? Was it summer? Was it winter?
It was what you call the dry season.
Okay.
They only have 2 seasons.
Oh, really?
They have the rainy season and the dry season.
Okay.
So there's not 4 seasons like we have.
And you said this was the dry season?
It was the dry season. And it was hot, and it don't rain too much at all.
Okay.
Right?
So you said you were there at the dry season.
Right.
So, what did they do about water? Is it really abundant, or do you have to use wells? What do they do for water?
Well, water's not abundant. Where we stayed, you have to use a well.
Okay.
There's a well in the back. And most people over there where I stayed at use wells, but they do have pipe water in certain areas.
All right, so you were there. While you were there, there was an election going on. So are their elections similar to ours, or is it, really different?
Well, their elections, just pretty much the same as ours.
Okay.
From what I saw, now they don't have electronic, voting booths. They still got to use their thumb and actually put their thumbprint on a piece of paper. Next to the person's name and face on the ballot. Okay,
so I guess they would have record of their thumbprints to be able to decide who did what.
No, it's just what. No, it's just.
So it's not like a criminal thing.
No, it's just where you put your thumbprint.
Okay.
Is next to tells you who you're voting for.
Right. Okay.
And you have to have a voter ID. Anybody just can't go vote.
Oh, okay.
You got to have a voter ID card or register to vote.
Okay.
Right, and they have a few. They have a few major parties, just like we have. And they got independents, right?
Okay. And so, as far as this particular election, the present president, he couldn't run anymore, or could he run again?
He served his 8 terms. So I believe he couldn't run again.
Served his 8 years.
Right.
Okay.
Two terms.
Okay, 2 terms. Okay.
And that party's person that was running was the vice president of him. Right, of the current president.
Okay, but they don't have like Republican and Democrat.
No, they have the NDC and NPP, and they have stand for stuff like the National, I want to say Democratic Congress or whatever. They have different names also.
Okay, so now you were telling me, I don't know if we'd be able to get pictures. If we can, we get videos. You were saying once the election was over, that people was going crazy.
Yeah, because the people are tired of the government being puppets of the West. That's what they call it, which a lot of governments over in Africa are. And the economy in Ghana is not doing good at all. The dollar compared to the cedi is way off. So they were tired of this guy and they wanted to get him out of office. So when his name's John Mahama, he was the one that won the election. When they won, the people went crazy. They was dancing all on the street, just partying.
Okay.
And you get in the car and go down. They be waving flags and blowing horns and everything. It was all the way live.
Okay. Well, it sounds like it was exciting. I know when you showed me the videos, it was kind of funny how they would just break out into a dance.
They dance and sing over almost anything.
Oh.
I mean, that's the culture.
Okay.
And when their party leader won, they showed out. It's all on TV, dancing, singing, little skits. One guy, I think I showed you one guy. He was, because when you wear white, it means victory. So a lot of them wore white. Even the current president, the president that won, they wore white to the speech when they did, to say that he won. And he had people in the street. They was dancing, partying, wearing white, and one guy had powder. He was just shaking it all in his face, this white powder, and it was just hilarious. The people are hilarious. They're not just. You got to understand how you have a people that's down, and they have hope. We're a spiritual people, but they take it to the next level.
Well, it's interesting you said that they use white as far as victory. Of course, being a nation that's a lot of so-called black, they celebrate white Jesus. Like when you told me, it just kind of blew me away. They actually kind of embrace white Jesus.
You see a white Jesus figure or picture all on some of the cars, the buildings. Even had a family member had it up in the house. I don't think they have a lot of biblical knowledge of a lot of things. They believe there's a savior. They believe, but as far as the in-depth study, and you got to think about this. You got the people that speak their native language. They speak English as their second language, but they don't hardly ever speak English. Okay. You see what I'm saying? So like when I come around, they speak English, and it's like they got to try to remember. So now they got to read a Bible that's English. I haven't seen a Bible that speaks in their native language. Okay. Now, of course, you have the major languages like French and all those. They have Bibles, but when you come down to Twi, you don't see one. So I don't think they do a lot of studying themselves, and like the books we have, like it's hard to get books like this, the books over there. If I haven't even seen a bookstore over there, matter of fact, when I was over there.
So they're learning from
their pastor. Basically.
Okay, from somebody who's learned or able to read, and then teaching them whatever he wants to teach them.
That's what I believe.
Okay.
From what I believe, that as far as the history, of course, it says in the Bible in Revelation what our Lord and Savior looks like. But have they read it? Have it been taught to them? Well, we didn't know.
Right. Well, that's true.
Let's think about it.
Well, we might have read it. We just kind of didn't.
But they don't teach it in modern Christianity in the churches over here either.
That's true. That's true.
So you got to think now. We're years and years ahead of them, so they're coming into. They're like 20 years behind. Yeah. In a lot of the teachings, they're still doing prosperity teaching over there.
Wow. Well, that's still being taught here.
Yeah,
too.
but not like. We're more hip to the game now.
Yeah, a lot. Well, some of us.
Right, because remember we used to go to church.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, but it's just amazing how the Christianity. I can't explain it. I'll say this: you'll be asleep at night, and then you'll hear somebody in the street preaching or whatever, 4 something in the morning, and nobody says anything because they view Christianity as above everything. But that's not the second greatest commandment is love thy neighbor as thyself. They're not loving your neighbors when you're going out there waking them up. You see what I'm saying? Right. It's like the mindset, or you get on the bus to go somewhere, and there's somebody standing up preaching the whole time you going, the whole hour, about to fall over, and they got the Bible they preaching. Well, actually, they don't open the Bible up, but they just preaching. But see, this is what they do. They put their hand out. See, that's what it's all about. Are they really looking out for our souls, or they want that? So they're not really witnessing. They just, like I said, just preaching, and they're looking for something back. Every single one I've seen, the end result is this right here. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of them are using Christianity, especially a lot of the pastors, for control and for money. Okay. Because let me tell you this: one of the guys, there's a man, I can't remember his name. It's Katenka. He actually has a factory that builds trucks. Now don't know how many trucks but it's the only factory I know that's in Ghana, northern Ghana. Guess where he used to be?
What?
A pastor.
Oh, okay.
And now he owns car lots and businesses.
He used to be a pastor. Now he owns car
Well,
lots.
he's still a pastor. But what I'm saying is that's probably how he got the money. So a lot of these pastors and the biggest and best buildings are churches.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I know, I don't know if these videos that I see on YouTube are from particularly Ghana, but I see a lot from that area where it looked like obvious fleecing to me.
Mm-hmm.
But, like I said, in the middle of it, I guess they are thinking about, I don't know if they're looking for healing or looking for financial blessing, but they seem to see the pastor, the man of God, as God himself.
There was a few people doing outreach on the street, and they handed me a pamphlet. Mm-hmm. Guess what it said?
What's that?
It talks about invitation to come know Christ, but guess what color Christ was?
White.
White.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can tell this pamphlet that they didn't make it there.
Right.
Where do you think they got it from?
Probably from the States.
States or something, right? But they're passing out to their people that Christ is white.
Okay. And so now the area that you were in, did you see a lot of churches as far as like on every other corner like we see here?
There's a church probably more than every other corner.
Okay. And is it like denomination or non-denomination?
Every denomination you can think of, everything. It's there. And all your schools and everything has something to do with Methodist, this, college, that, all got to do with different church denominations. It's crazy.
So do you think they're kind of supported by some American churches?
Some of them are.
Right, okay.
Some of them are. And I almost guarantee you some of them are sending money back here. You know how it go.
Oh, yeah. Well, that is very interesting. Now, I don't know if we had talked about this earlier, but were you there? You were there while Christmas was going on.
Right.
Do they celebrate Christmas like we celebrate Christmas?
They teach Christmas in the churches, as far as I know. Where I lived at, it wasn't so much remembrances of Christmas because the people are poor.
Okay. Right.
But in the cities, there was Christmas trees, Christmas stuff. Nothing like the United States. And on all the TV shows, they had a Christmas tree in the background, and some had the little Santa hat and all this kind of stuff. And you can think how it's just like, really? Here it's hot here, ain't no snow, none of this, and they talking about wearing some Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's just crazy.
And Santa Claus, they kind of had that too?
Well, they were wearing a Santa hat and all that too.
I guess so. Okay,
yeah.
Okay. That's just amazing how that's embedded, not just in our culture, but around the world.
Well, that's Christianity.
Yeah.
And, remember now, the colonizers, so were there first.
Right.
And they're still there. Now, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to what's going on in the news, how a lot of other countries like Burkina Faso kicked the French out. A lot of countries are kicking the French out. Okay, those are the colonizers. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Wow, that's just interesting. So now, while you were there, did you see a presence of Israelites?
My wife is a part of a ministry over there. They had a little shake up, but there's her ministry over there, and then you have a ministry of True Nation out of California in Kumasi, which I went to go visit.
Well, they have them there then. That's the question they do. Yeah. So they do have Israelites.
Right.
May not be dominant, but they do have.
Right.
Okay.
And they also have a Sabbath keepers, Seventh-day Adventists, all that over there. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, but now when it goes back to the Israelites, what do you think as far as the progress there? Is it you think gaining, or do we have a lot of work to do?
We got a lot of work to do.
Oh, okay.
We got a lot of work to do, and I think it's a lot to do. A lot because of we don't have the books and the study, but access to information like we have here. Right. First of all, somebody got to tell them. Okay, then you need more people on the street, or like different shows showing, how history, how it ties to the scriptures, and I think they got a long ways to go over there. But we got to get it done.
Right. I mean, it sounds like it was interesting, and I know, not on this trip, but I know one of your previous trips, you took a tour of what is it called, the Gate of No Return, or
Oh, you talking about the slave dungeons?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, on the Slave Coast, the
Mhm.
Amina Castle. That's where the door of no return is. With this is in Ghana now. Of course, some other countries too, but the main one of the main ones, is in Ghana
Wow.
on on the Cape Coast, and it's like 2 hours from Accra,
Mhm.
the major city of Accra, where the airport is. And it was something to see. If you guys, this viewing, could ever visit and see that, how our people were treated and what they had to go through, it's unbearable. People crying. Um, at one point, the lady put us in the dungeon, and all they had was a small air passage, and it was two doors. She closed one of the doors and turned out the light, and it wasn't 5 minutes, boy. Wasn't even 5 minutes, and we were ready to get out of there.
Mhm.
But in that particular cell we was at, the people don't last. I think it was 24 hours or 36 hours, and they're dead.
Yeah, suffocating.
Yeah, well, or the heat.
Heat.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
and so it's something to see. It's worthwhile seeing. It's worthwhile going,
Mhm.
and it really touches your heart. The fact that what our people had to go through, but the Most High put us through it because of our disobedience.
Okay. Well, we just got a few more minutes left, and I just want to, I mean, what you've told us is eye opening to me. I mean, don't know if I ever have a chance to go, but I definitely would like to go and definitely see those parts that you're talking about, as far as the door of no return. But talk to me a little bit about like the food that you were eating there, because as far as the monies is concerned, it seems like if you take $100 here over there, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, the translation rate of the money is unreal.
Hmm.
You can take $100 bill, U.S. dollars, and you can get like 1,400 Ghana cedis,
Okay.
which is a lot of money. And like, let's say, like I got a haircut, I was over there.
Hmm.
Well, it costs 25 cedis, but that's like $2.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you start transferring it back into dollars, it's like almost nothing.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's like I went to eat some KFC, and it was like about almost 90 cedis.
Oh, wow.
So that's less than what, $9 or something like that
Hmm.
for a four-piece meal and all.
Hmm.
So the exchange rate is high now. Of course, with the new president they
Hmm.
got,
Hmm.
so it's starting to shrink. And so long as the economy starts getting back, it'll start shrinking to where you get less for your dollar. But yeah, what else?
Well, I knew you was gonna tell me. You had talked about the cars that they have here. Like our junkers here, our hoopties would be like you could probably get maybe what, $4,000 or $5,000 for what we had drive here, as far as our older cars.
Right. They'll have like a 92, 93 Corolla, Toyota Corolla, and it'll still be going. It'll be ragged out, but it might have every light on the dash be on.
Hmm.
They don't have you look down, and he won't have the key switch is gone. He got some kind of switch up under the dash. You got to close the door won't close, and
But he riding.
all the trim inside is about gone.
Uh,
And he driving it like he got a sports car.
wow. Wow.
And you got to get in this thing, or the buses, they ragged out. A lot of them are ragged out.
Hmm.
And you get in there, and it's like the suspensions, the roads are so bad that you just shaking and all, and bumps, and it's an experience. If you can't take people driving crazy, I tell you to stay home, because they'll be passing a car, and another car come past him,
Hmm.
and the car be coming. They don't care. They still be
Oh,
they still
man.
be
So,
driving.
yeah, wow. So their rules are different, a little bit different from ours. A lot, seem like less carefree. I mean, they kind of don't have a lot of structure when it comes to like the driving rules and whatnot.
No, they have police. I mean, no, they don't, but they have police checkpoints.
Hmm.
And when you pull up to a police checkpoint, they got the uniform on, they got them automatic weapons, and they come up to you. It's kind of intimidating knowing that you're an American
Hmm.
sitting in there, and they're like, oh no, they're gonna want some money from me. When they look in there, and I guess, and they tap on it, and then you go. But it's a little intimidating sometimes. You come to them checkpoints.
I got you. Well, brother, sounds like you had a good trip. I mean, I think the furthest I've ever been out of this country is maybe Jamaica. That's as big as far as I've gone. But for you to take that trip, and I know the first time you went, it was quite an experience. But I guess the more you go, the more I guess experience you get as far as handling it and how you handle yourself there. But I'm glad you made it back safe. And you got anything else you want to say?
You have a lot of African Americans, per se, going and living in Ghana and a lot of African countries.
Okay.
They just recently had a free citizenship in Ghana, and they had online. There was 200 or so people getting free citizenship.
All right.
My plan is, maybe in the future, if all praise the Most High, if it works out that way, maybe I'll be, living in Ghana. Because you could build a house, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house for $70,000.
Yeah.
And have a nice plot of land, and so.
Well, that you say that, I mean, a while back I was able to do this series about this guy who travels. His name is Worldwide Nate, and he did a series on Ghana. And for some people that, not to downplay anything that you've been saying, but there are some areas in Ghana that are like Americanized and actually built up and look like our cities. So it's not all, huts and whatnot. So.
Right. You got people that's actually living in what you might call a hut. I wouldn't say it looks like what you see on TV. Majority of the people where I lived at when I was there, they shower outside. And they have a toilet outside.
Okay.
That's something to get used to.
Right.
Because I had to do that a few times.
Yeah.
So they don't have public restrooms everywhere.
All right.
So they be whipping it out on the side of the road. I can't even tell you about the women what they do, but it's an experience. Now in the major cities, like you said, Accra, they got a mall. They got electronic stores, clothing stores, shopping center, all this just like we have. They got a Burger King and Subway. They got a lot of American stores.
Okay.
And you'll see a lot of tourists in places like the mall.
Right.
They have beautiful resorts over there that you wouldn't think, but they have modern, even the electricity. They have a card they put on the meter, and that's how they turn the electricity on. They put money on this card, so they don't get a bill like we get. I took the card, this little card that got a chip in it, and you say I want 50 CDs, and they'll put the card down on this reader, and I guess they'll find the number, whatever, and they'll put 50 CDs on it, and you take that card, and then you put it on the meter, and the meter comes on.
Okay. So you have so many hours to do what you got to do.
Well, how much electricity you using?
Okay.
And so you'll be sitting there watching TV, all of a sudden the power go out.
Okay.
And then my wife would say, honey, the power electricity's finished. And I said, it's finished? She go, yeah. So then you get the card and you put it on the meter and you get like a little grace period.
Okay.
Like 8, I don't know, maybe it's 12 hours, I'm not sure. But within that period, it'll go out too. You got to get.
So, I mean, do you have to use it all at one time, or can you use it and, pause it? So say you put it in there for an hour and you wanted to pause.
No. Once you put it on there, how much ever money you put on there,
it's got to go, it flows.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. So I got a lot of stories to tell if anybody want to, maybe we could do a part 2.
Yeah.
But it was interesting, and to see how the majority of the world actually lives. See, America is this.
Oh, we spoiled.
We Yeah.
Well, man, again, hey, I know you were keeping me, giving me updates while you were away, and I was glad you did because I was concerned for you, brother. I didn't want to hear that you was, tied up and kidnapped. So, but it was good to hear from you, and the things you were telling me was so interesting. And I don't know if I ever make it over there, but some of you might be interested in going to Ghana and other places. And just glad to hear that your story. And we just praise the Most High that He allowed us to have this podcast and share stories like this. And we look forward to sharing other stories. And the last things you want to say?
No, I just all praise the Most High that I had the opportunity to go.
Right.
And all praise the Most High that I found a wife, a loving wife, in Ghana. Now, it's something that I never thought would happen, but you can't never say never. I used to say never this, never that, but then next thing I know, but that's the same thing about this truth, brother. We'll say I never would be on the corners preaching or whatever, but we see ourselves doing things we never thought we would do.
Right.
But the world is a place that the Most High made, and we're not confined to this Matter of fact, in the Bible, they traveled the world. So, you know, you got to look, even what about Paul? Look how many places he went.
That's true.
So we can't just look at ourselves as, okay, well, I'm an American, a black man, whatever, and just think the world revolves around America. No, it's a vast world. So yeah, brother, that's all I got to say.
All right. Well, all praises to the Most High. Thank you for again watching another episode of Y'all's Chosen. And if you don't mind, do us a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. And we'll see you next time on Y'all's Chosen.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Trusting the plans, yeah, I had to be more considerate. Trampling my enemies, the top is where I'm heading in.